All right, guys, we're gonna keep going on item charges. Do one more video on that. We actually got a great question from Corey yesterday, and so today we're gonna answer that question with a video. So the question was, for on the sales side, can we use item charges for credit card charges? And of course, with item charges, you have the item, and then you have ILEs, which are the item ledger entries, and underneath that you have the value entries, right? So this is the structure. And if we have a sale, so let's say, for example, this is a coffee mug. That's the item, and so we have a sale for, let's say it's 5 at $4 for $20. And what we can do then is add an item charge. So that would be like, let's say, a credit card charge. And let's say that's just quantity 1 for $5 total. So that means that the total unit cost, so this is unit cost, becomes 25. 25 right here. Because it adds the 5 times 4 and 1 times 5 into that to make it into $25. And that can happen after the fact, or it can happen on the sales order. The thing about this, though, is it increases the unit price. We're talking about sales, not the cost. The thing about this, though, is that the price goes up, which means that your revenue goes up for this item. So whenever you run a report on this item, the item will show up with a $25 price for this transaction. So your unit price effectively goes up by $1 into $5. And that is because of a credit card charge that lifted the value of the item up. So whether you want to use an item charge or not here is sort of up to you. If that is okay and you want to incorporate all of the charges into the price of the item, then that's fine. But the negative about that is that, let's say, for example, the credit card charge cost comes in against this fee that you charge the item. So where are you going to put the cost? Ideally, you would want the credit card charge to go into a separate account, and then the cost to go into a separate account, and you can sort of match out the cost to the price, ideally. Or maybe not. Maybe you just want to apply the cost to also the sale, and so it reduces the unit price of the item down, and you're left with basically the profit of the item charge inside the item ledger entries, right? Inside your revenue for the item. So I know it gets a little bit crazy. I think, and I go through this in the video as well, I do a little screen sharing a little bit. I think if it's not a huge amount, the charge that's in here, and doesn't have a major effect on the item itself, it might make sense to have it just go to its own GL account and reconcile it in the GL account. But I'm going to show you how it would work if you actually did it as an item charge. By the way, very good question. Thanks for the comment. Let's take a look at the screen share. Okay, so in the system, what we're going to do is create a sales order. And we'll just pick the Adatum Corporation and go ahead and sell a coffee mug. So we'll just do 5. And so the question was, let's pick a good location here. Let's do the east location. All right. So the question was, can we now attach a fee to this item, like a credit card fee that we're going to charge the customer? And the answer is yes. So, and we can do that with item charges. And let me just show you how that would work. If I go in here and in the same order, I am going to add an item charge. And in this case, it's going to be I'll guess I'll use sales allowance here, but maybe not most appropriate title. Just call it credit card charge. Quantity is going to be 1. And let's say the unit price, we're charging an extra $5 for credit card fee for this. So what we want to do here is apply the charge to the item over here. So I can do that by going in here into line, functions, actually, nope, line, item charge assignment. It's in related information. And then I can just go ahead and suggest and close. So now it's applied. I guess the only issue with this is that you have to do this application, and there is a way to code that it automatically applies it, but it gets a little tricky because if you want it always to apply to all lines, that's great, but if you only want it to apply to some lines, then doing this automatically can get a little hairy. But the effect of posting this is really nice, so I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit process. And actually posting here in post and ship an invoice to get this out. And so remember, I'm selling 5 coffee mugs and I am adding a charge on top of that for $5. And I want to see how that looks in the item list on the item transactions. So I'll get into items, go into my coffee mug. I can actually go just see, here, and into navigate, history, entries. I think I can get from the list as well, but let's just do it like this and open it up. Okay, so now if you take a look at this sale, you can see that the sales shipment for 5, sales amount is actually $25. So we sold for $20, but it added another $5 for the credit card charge. And you can see here that it actually breaks that up. And I could have posted this charge into a different account, of course. But when you look at this, you're basically saying our sales amount for this was $25. That means that I am actually putting the charge into the item, basically saying the item is more expensive. And you have to kind of think to yourself, is that realistic? Do I want to see my revenue line for the item go up because of a credit card charge? Or do I want to see the credit card charges separately? So it's a valuation you have to make, as far as looking at your chart of accounts and your GLs, your reports. In some reasoning, that might be fine. That might be okay. But if you're doing that, then you have to probably think about the cost. So if the credit card cost comes from the credit card company, are you then going to apply that also to these shipments to get a final number for the item? You can do that as well. I mean, and then you have a perfect cost for the item. If it's a very small amount, it might be too much of a headache to do all this, and it might be just easier to do it into a GL account. So it's up to you.